Episode 2. Venezuela was the message. The world was the audience. An insight by Robert Kiyosaki. In the previous episode, we explored Robert Kiyosaki's claim that Venezuela represents the end stage of a failing money system. In this episode, the focus widens. Kiyosaki argues that Venezuela was not the main target, but the signal. A public demonstration meant to warn other states about energy, sanctions, China, and the limits of operating outside the U.S.-dominated financial system. This episode looks at power not as warfare, but as enforcement through sanctions, blockades, cash flow control, and access to global markets. Again, this is not an official account of events. It is one interpretation of how modern empires project power in a financialized world. Let's continue. Most people think the Venezuela move was the event. It wasn't. It was the warning. After the Venezuela operation, Trump didn't just talk about Maduro. He warned other countries. That's the part almost no one is paying attention to, because this wasn't just about removing a leader. It was about setting a precedent. Here's how power actually works. You don't need to fight everyone. You fight one publicly, so the rest fall in line privately. Venezuela was chosen for a reason, not because it's weak, but because it sits at the intersection of oil, China, sanctions, dollar avoidance, energy leverage in the Western Hemisphere. Once the U.S. moved in Venezuela, the message was clear. If you're helping China secure energy outside our system, you're next. That's what the warning was really about. This is not war. This is enforcement. People hear threats and think military. Wrong. This is system enforcement. Trump didn't threaten bombs. He threatened sanctions, blockades, asset freezes, access removal, dollar exclusion. Those are stronger than missiles, because modern nations don't collapse from invasion. They collapse from cash flow interruption. Why this terrifies other countries? Many countries are quietly doing the same thing Venezuela did, selling commodities to China, settling outside the dollar, using discounts to bypass sanctions, letting China finance infrastructure and energy. They thought they were safe. Venezuela proved they're not, because the rule is simple. You can trade with China, or you can trade against U.S. interests, but not both forever. This is how empires maintain control. Empires don't announce rules. They demonstrate consequences. Iraq was a demonstration. Libya was a demonstration. Now Venezuela, different decades. Same lesson. Oil isn't the prize. Control is. Control over shipping lanes, insurance, settlement currency. Who gets paid? Who gets cut off? Once you control those, you don't need to occupy countries. They self-correct. What this means for markets and your money: when threats go public, markets don't price them immediately. They lag. First comes denial, then confusion, then volatility. Energy markets reprice first. Emerging markets crack next. Currencies follow. Liquidity disappears. And retail investors ask, what just happened? It already happened. You just didn't see it yet. I don't follow headlines. I follow signals. When leaders stop negotiating quietly and start threatening publicly, the system is under stress. That's when paper promises fail fastest. That's when real assets matter most. Venezuela wasn't the story. It was the announcement. And the world heard it loud and clear. According to Robert Kiyosaki, Venezuela was never just about one country or one leader. It was a signal about money, energy, and who controls the systems that nations depend on to survive. This insight comes from Robert Kiyosaki, and we gratefully give full credit to his official Facebook page. Robert T. Kiyosaki is an American entrepreneur, investor, and author, best known for Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He is the founder of the Rich Dad company and a prominent voice on financial education, real assets, and the risks of debt-driven monetary systems. Do you believe this was a warning to the world? Or do you think Kiyosaki overstates the connection between money, power, and geopolitics? Join the conversation in the comments. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe to Digital Oromia for more critical discussions on power, finance, and global affairs.